What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. This is Buchanan Motorsports, and today, as you can see behind me, we're on the F250. 2007 6.0 Powerstroke. Got a little bit of an issue. We'll walk you through it. If you ain't liked and subscribed, go ahead and do that for us. We'd appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying all the content. This is a fairly new channel, so we're still new at this, guys, so keep that in mind. Let's get into it. All right, guys, like I said, we're back on the 6.0 today. Noticed a little bit of an issue the other day. We had a leaking reservoir, coolant reservoir there, and my son replaced it with a new one, and then was checking back up on it a day or two later and noticed a little bit of a problem. I don't know if you can tell, it's not the best little shot there, but this is a little bit of a sample of what I took out of that reservoir. And that, if you can't tell right there, is a lot of engine oil and water. So, and you may be able to tell right there. Let's see if I can get you in there. You see that little layer right there? That is engine oil. And there's only a couple ways it can get in there. So let me walk you through kind of what we did, what we're gonna do, and how we got to the conclusion we did. All right, so here's where we're at. Oil in the coolant. That can come from one of the major places, your engine oil cooler on this 6.0. That's where your oil and water come together or come to the same component. They're separated by the coil or the fins, and that it's almost like a radiator. So if you get a hole in one side of that oil cooler, which is a very known problem, then the higher pressure oil system will push oil into your coolant reservoir, thus giving us the condition we have right now. A lot of people are concerned themselves also with head gaskets. The reason I ruled out a head gasket, for the most part, again, this is not foolproof, but I don't have pressure coming into my tank like we have a blown head gasket. We're leaking compression into an oil jacket, a cooling water jacket. Or I don't have any coolant smell coming out of the exhaust. I don't have any blow-by, any of that kind of stuff. This is strictly, I have oil starting to show up now in my coolant system. The other day we did this, when we first noticed this, we pulled the radiator hoses off, flushed the coolant system, because I wanted to see how long it may have been doing this, if this was something new that just started, or if it had just started to, or had been accumulating for a while and he just noticed it since he was looking at his coolant reservoir there. So we flushed it all out real good, the whole system, for a pretty good while, filled it all back up, and he ran it for a day. So what you're seeing over there, what I showed you a while ago, is the equivalent of, I would say, 50 to 75 miles worth of accumulation. Again, that's just in the reservoir, and it may be less than that, to be honest with you. From what I'm reading, a little bit of knowledge I do have, it says the oil cooler is going to be our problem based on the conditions I gave you a while ago. But first things first, we got to start digging off into this thing. And if you don't know, that oil cooler is under your oil filter. And as you can see by looking around, we got a whole bunch of stuff we got to get out of the way before we can ever get to that. Fairly easy part to replace as far as once you get to it. Pretty simple. We'll walk you through all that the best we can. Again, I'm not a diesel mechanic. I work on my own stuff. So this isn't necessarily a how-to. It's kind of a how we did it, more or less. So let's get into it. All right, guys, just went to the mailbox, got our part. It said it was delivered right before we started all this. This is your part number, the 3C3Z-6A810-A. It's going to come with quite a few things here. It's got another screen for an oil screen filter. It's got all your gaskets you're going to need. And here's our brand new OEM oil cooler. Spoke with several shops, diesel shops around my area that do this stuff all the time. They recommended going right back with a OEM style cooler. To my best of my knowledge, the cooler that's on this truck is the original one. Again, I don't see, I had a ton of service records whenever I got this truck. I didn't see any indication of it ever being changed. So that means this one lasted 301,000 miles. That's how many miles are on this truck. So if it'll last another 300, we're gonna go right back with the same thing. Have no reason not to. So anyway, here we go. We're diving off into this. First thing we're gonna start doing is I may go ahead and flush the system one more time, get all the stuff out of it before I pull the old cooler out, get all the nasty stuff out of the system. That way when we go to do everything, the system's already clean for the most part. I mean, there may be a couple things that's not, but we'll figure that out. At least we won't be heavily contaminating that new cooler over there. So let's get started with that. Should be pretty easy. I'm not probably gonna do a whole lot of explaining on that one. We're gonna take off some of our coolant lines, get our water hose, start flushing everywhere we can flush, and get all that old oil out of there. Maybe run a little bit of degreaser or something through it. And after we do that, we're gonna flush it extensively. I don't want any chances of leaving that stuff in the motor. And then once we get this back up and running again, I'm probably gonna do the exact same thing again. Get it all back up and running, circulating, and I'm probably gonna dump the system a couple times just to make sure we're 100% good. So as you can see, my son, I told him he's gonna be doing a lot more work this time. It's his truck. I'm gonna be doing more explaining, so hopefully that works out. We'll see how far we get with that. He got a little grin on his face like he's got something up his sleeve, but anyway, that's where we're at. All right, guys, we got the coolant system flushed pretty good. It's not perfect yet. I do feel comfortable with it though. It's everything I'm seeing coming out of everywhere I've got it coming out of is clean. We have run a little bit of degreaser through it, put a lot of extra water behind it, make sure it's not coming out doesn't feel nasty, doesn't smell. Just should be just clean water for now. Again, we're gonna have to flush all this stuff again anyway. So right now we're gonna start getting the this charge pipe off. We got the intake box out of the way. We'll get that tube there. We'll start picking at it. We'll get this charge pipe off. And then we'll just start piecing our way through it. So what else we got here? So it's just gonna be getting stuff, trying to get down there and get access to this stuff. So we'll get the oil filter out. All that stuff's got to come out. So there's quite a bit of stuff to take off, just getting down to it. Trying to be nice and easy with everything because this is an old truck. It's not new, so you can't treat it like it's a 2024 came off there and you're doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that to it. So this stuff is old. Some of the stuff is brittle. If you don't want to have to replace a bunch of extra stuff, then do yourself a favor. Take your time. Be easy with it. If you have a problem, remember where things go. This would be a good time to take a bunch of pictures. That way you have documentation of where everything's supposed to go, and you can put it back in the right spot so you're not scratching your head later on trying to figure out where this goes, where that goes. All right, guys, we got the top charge pipe off. He's working on getting the other one off. Should be a couple of your clamps looking like that. That one's already off, as you can see. Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna get our fuel filter housing off. Should be 11/16 there. This one's gonna be a 3/4, the backup, and this is a 13/16. That's gonna open up our fuel system, allow us to get this out of the way. And then we'll start working on some of these electrical connections. Again, while you're doing all this stuff, make sure you're looking at all your stuff and making sure you don't have any other issues while you're in here. This would be a good time to address it. So, and we're also going to go ahead and put something kind of in this area right here so we don't accidentally drop something down in there. So another thing to watch out. All right, guys. So we got the all the fuel lines disconnected from the back side of this. We got our sensors unplugged, our wiring harnesses unplugged from over here. Went ahead and took out the thermostat just to give us a little bit extra room to get some wrenches in here on the back side of this. He's getting the 4 bolts that hold this down. I think it's 4, is it 5?
4.
And they are T45s, I believe.
Yeah.
So just he's working on that. This is probably going to make a big mess once we pull this up, but it is what it is. There ain't a way to do it without making a mess. So other than that,
2 in the front, 1 on the...
We're going to have to work with getting this harness out of the way. And continue to dig our way down to the intake manifold so we can get that wrestled out of here. So let's see what he's got right here real quick. See if he did a good job or not. All right, that's up and out of there. So we're gonna get that put in a bag so we don't make a huge mess with it. The bags are over there on the workbench, James. And you can kind of see where we're trying to get to. We're trying to get down in there. So one piece at a time. Okay, guys, quick update. We went ahead and pulled the some of these lines loose to kind of give us a little bit more room to get this this intake out. We went ahead and pulled the hard line off the top of the oil supply to the turbo. It goes basically right. Right down in there. Get one bolt there, 2 10 millimeters up top, up there. We kind of got this pulled up out of the way just so we can keep it up out of our way. We did have to pull a couple injector plugs right here, a bunch of miscellaneous sensors and plugs, vacuum hoses, whatever. So next we're gonna start working on that other side to see what else we can got to cut loose over there on the driver's side so we can start getting at these intake manifold bolts. It's gonna be interesting. I think we can get this off without pulling the turbo, this intake manifold. We're gonna have to, it's gonna get a little tight back there in the very, very back there. There's a couple bolts that are gonna be a little bit challenging, but we'll get there. All right, guys, here's where we're at. We went ahead and took out the fuel injector control module over there, got it out of the way. There's a little bracket way back here in the back. Let's see if I can, sorry about the camera. There's a little bracket back there. I got it pushed up out of the way. It's way over there. There's two 8 millimeters and a 10 millimeter ground that you'll have to get. It goes to that back stud on the right there at the end of my finger on the back of the intake manifold. I think we got most of our connections disconnected. I went ahead and took out the harness to this right here. Got all this stuff unbolted, unplugged. I think the only thing we got left now is to start taking our intake manifold bolts loose. Looks like we'll be able to slide it back at an angle, kind of like this, to get it underneath that turbo without taking the turbo off. The only thing we had to mess with the turbo was the intake and exhaust, and then the oil line. Excuse me, the intake and then the oil line. So let's start working these 10 millimeters out. There's a whole bunch of them on this intake manifold. So go ahead. We'll start working those out one at a time. Being careful, like I said, we're bagging and tagging everything. Again, just taking it nice and easy. All right, guys, we're a day or so later. Had a few minor complications. Not so minor, but just kind of give you an update where we're at. As you can see, we've got the intake off, got the gaskets pulled, somewhat cleaned up, just vacuumed off the top of the manifold, got all the loose trash out, trying to make sure I got anything that may have fell down in the intake runners. Really good. The reason we've been on hold for a day or so, and we're still going to be on hold, is that, as you can see, my son was helping us earlier. He does a great job. He's very mechanically inclined. However, he is still 17 years old, can get a little bit of rambunctious. You know, just kind of the way it is. And he got into our, hopefully you can see that clearly. He got into our connectors for our injectors. As you can see, the one in the very back is has a little bit of an issue. The one in the very front has a little bit of an issue. Yeah, so I got a couple of those coming. I had to call this morning and talked to a gentleman, I believe it was at the dieselstore.com, if I'm not mistaken. I'll put a screenshot of what I picked up. But basically, I got the injector solenoid. Comes with the plug. Comes with the part that goes to the injector. So yes, I will have it to be pulling. As you can see, we already kind of got into some of it. The part's not here, but we'll be pulling those two, replacing basically the pigtail that goes where the injector harness comes in, plugs in. Extra work we didn't plan on. I've calmed down a little bit, a little bit upset about that, but anyway, we're moving on. So here's your intake. This is what the intake looks like for the truck. This is cleaned up. Just an interesting note, this little vacuum port right here, this was actually completely plugged. So I'm interested to see if anything acts different whenever we go back together with this thing. Just went ahead and cleaned it all up, cleaned out all these ports, and cleaned out basically the whole manifold from the inside out. I did find this kind of cool. Just a little side note. Hopefully you can see that, but right there it's dated 5/22/06. So I guess when they manufacture these or put these together or whatever, maybe they whoever put it together engraved it, because that is definitely not a factory casting. However, I will say that I don't believe this has ever been tore into as far as the intake manifold goes. I'll show you if I can find them here. Find where the gasket is. That's our new gaskets. Sorry for the fan. Hopefully it ain't making a big racket for you. It's hot in Texas, boy. Here we go. Here's the intake gaskets. I don't see anything that says Motorcraft on it, but man, these look like they've been in there for a long time. Real long time. I'd have to do a little bit more research just to see, but I don't see where any of this stuff had really been tore into before. I did go ahead and, let me show you that real quick. Went ahead and got myself another set of, because these are easily and readily available, another set of Felpro intake gaskets. There's your part number, the MS 96792. It's got all the stuff we're gonna need to put the intake back on. The donut goes down in here. Anyway, all the stuff. So trying to think of anything else real quick. So next thing we're fixing to do, I've already got this loose, but I had to, as you can see, I got the intake out without pulling the turbo. It's a little bit of a chore, no doubt, but I had to take the, I believe there were 6, 8mm 12 point, just FYI, 12 point. I had to take 6 of those out to get to the compressor housing. And that allowed us to be able to get the intake off without pulling the turbo. The one thing that did fight you, just if you're gonna do this, I just want to throw it out there real quick, is this little tab right here. This little tab is the whole reason you got to pull any of that stuff, housing, or pull the turbo all on its own. This little thing right here. And because it goes back here to that right there. And I believe this is the EGR cooler. Yeah, that is a royal pain. So just FYI on that. I really don't see, it's kind of pointless, to be honest with you. This thing is not going anywhere. I get one bolt stabilization, but I mean, I should probably be replacing this. Reality is, I really don't want to dump that kind of money into this thing. It ought to be studded and completely EGR deleted. That'll probably happen at some point. But I want to do it the right way and not in a real quick haste, just to try to get something up and running again. So that's where we're at with that. So the next thing we're gonna get this off. We can finally get to the bolt. I had to get this compressor housing off so I could get to this this bolt right there. Those are T45s. We got a couple of them loose already. We'll get the rest of them. All right, so went ahead and loosened the 11mm band clamp back there on the back of the EGR cooler. Got the EGR cooler out of the way so we can access these 3 bolts right here. Next thing we're here. I mean, this is the top of the oil cooler passages right here. So be prepared to make a mess right here. When you pull all this stuff apart, there's going to be oil and just coolant and all kinds of stuff running everywhere. So just something to prepare for there. I'm going to get some rags, kind of stage up there so we don't have the stuff running everywhere, but at least try to prevent some of it. But we're going to get these let's see, how many is that? I don't know, 8 or so. Looks like 10 millimeters. Get those pulled out. Get this old oil cooler up out of here and just take a look at it, inspect it, see what we got. I'm curious to see if you can actually physically see any damage. But anyway, let's go ahead and get that pulled out. All right, guys, the oil cooler is out. Obviously made a big mess. I need to find out. I was pretty sure that was supposed to drain, but I got to get that screen out of there. Obviously, get everything cleaned up, get ready to go back the other way with it. But I got to replace all the seals on the cooler itself, the housing. I'll bring you over to the workbench and show you what that's going to look like. All right, guys, here's our parts and pieces that are absolutely 100% filthy. Just an update. This was there was actually 10 millimeter bolts that held this to the engine block, and I already pulled out the two 13 millimeter bolts that held this that way, and then there's two 13 millimeter nuts right here on this top side. So that should give us the ability to pull this loose, get all the oil out of it. Everything's nasty. I will say that the oil screen looked like it was doing a little bit of something, because there was a little bit of debris in that. We've only owned this truck for probably 6 months, I guess, right at 6 months, 7 months. And so this stuff looks like it's been in here a long time. So I'm glad it was doing what it was supposed to be doing. All right, here we are apart. I will say this was a little bit tougher than I expected. It goes together just like that. I actually had to come in here and with a socket, and this seal right here was sealed up tight. So had to come in here and just bump that from this side like this, and then do the same thing here. And we're gonna take a little bit of our quick clean here and just start kind of getting some of this nasty, gunky buildup from a ton of years. Start getting that stuff cleaned up, because this is a absolute nightmare. All right, guys, hopefully this lighting is okay. But all right, so again, we got these parts cleaned up pretty good. They're not 1,000%, but we'll kind of make sure they're good enough as we go along. So what I got here is the top of the oil cooler housing, the bottom of the where your oil filter goes. It sits on there like that, okay, and the motor. We'll pull that off. Your oil passages and your coolant passages come through. We're gonna pull our gaskets out. Of course, like I said, we've been bagging and tagging all of our stuff, so we'll put that over there in our parts pile. And this is a perfect opportunity to sit right here in this Viper chair. Very appreciative of that gift my daughter got me for Christmas, so we'll throw her a little plug. She also is the one that does all of our editing, so thank you for that, Michaela. All right, before we get ready to go back in with all this stuff, we're gonna continue to clean this up. I've got our little sump down there cleaned up. Get ready to put the screen back in. I got this half of the intake manifold from the top of the head, I guess, connection where the gas is going to sit. I got those cleaned up, rigged up a little bit of a, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, something you put on the end of my little stinger, I guess, put on the end of my vacuum. Went in and sucked those out. I'm going to clean this turbo housing up, clean all the residual oil from everything so we ain't burning off everything. And then I still got to go back over here to this this other side, clean all those up. Those are pretty nasty still. So we got some more cleaning to do. But just, like I said, just make sure all these surfaces, all the old gasket material is gone. There was, like I said, this stuff looks like it's been on there since new, I mean, really. But it had a little ridge there. So I went around and just barely scuffed it. I scraped it. So we'll do the same thing over there. All right, guys, here we are. We're cleaned up about as best as it's gonna get. I mean, I wiped everything down several times with brake clean. Prep them surfaces. I'll wipe it down one more time right before I get ready to put that intake back on. I'm gonna go ahead and put the, if I can reach it here, put that oil screen back in there. Again, that's just a press fit, nothing really else holding that down. Just make sure it's in there good and seated. Make sure that whole area is nice and clean. We're gonna get the oil cooler housing and all that stuff. We're gonna get all that back over here. Make sure our surface is good one more time. Go ahead and stab it. And we're going back together finally. Again, just take your time. It's worth making sure everything's good and clean before you put it back in there so your gaskets don't fail on you. The worst thing would be happening if you put all this together and then it leaks everywhere and then you're scratching your head and trying to figure out where, and could have just saved yourself a whole lot of heartache, a couple minutes here, and just clean it up real good. So it's not going to be perfect, but we've given a pretty good effort. So let's go back together.